It's Friday morning. My Sheltie Shorty pup sits at attention by the front door. His eyes are bright. His plumed tail swishes across the floor in anticipation. He looks button-busting proud as I slip his teal-colored vest over his back and clip on the tag that identifies him as Chipper, Paws for Healing Certified Therapy Dog. We're on our way to offer solace at a nearby hospital, mending hearts with gentle paws. This is Chipper's favorite activity, more than sniffing critters, more than prancing through the neighborhood. He knows that his just being there is important to the humans of his world. Plus, he's a favorite of the staff who rub his ears, pat his back, and produce treats for him from the pockets of their scrubs. On this day, we call on the emergency department. The glass doors glide open, and Chipper pauses, waiting for direction. A wailing sound reverberates through the hallway. It's a young man thrashing about in unbearable pain. "Do come in," calls a weary nurse on seeing us. "If he calms down just a little, I can give him a sedative." He's unable to speak Spanish, but though I speak Spanish, I hardly have to say a word. Instead, I pick Chipper up and gently place him between the man's arm and his chest. As if transported back to his childhood, the patient exclaims, "Me encantan los perritos. I love little dogs. Ay, perrito. Oh, puppy." For the moment, he's forgotten about his pain, and the sedative soon takes effect. With one last, "I love he drops off to sleep. I turn to Chipper, and as with every time we leave a room, pet him and say, "Good boy, Chipper." We next enter a place of shadows where guards stand by the door to monitor these patients lest they harm themselves or others. Wearing distinctive hospital clothing, they are thus identified as being going through a mental health crisis. We approach a bare room. On its plain bench is a fragile boy of 15, maybe 16, hollow-eyed and listless. I ask permission to enter and get a very slight "Would you like to be with a little dog for a while?" Huh? We spend a small eternity silently together as a young teen gently strokes Chipper over and over, feeling the pulse of his little beating heart through his soft fur. Oh. Chipper nestles closer against him, and the boy murmurs, "I felt like I couldn't live in this world, but if one day I can take care of sweet animals like me, oh, I'll want to stay." I smile and nod silently. We quietly step away, and Chipper gets his second "Good boy, Chipper" of the day. A pediatric nurse now hastens to meet us. "Oh, I was hoping you'd be here. He's just what we need." Her patient is a 4-year-old, all tucked into herself, her head full of curls pressing up against the wall. She won't let anyone touch her to get the vitals needed for transfer to the children's hospital across the bay. Chipper puts his paws on her lap. She unrolls slightly and tentatively stretches a hand toward his ears. "Could we borrow your blood pressure cuff?" I asked the nurse. And Chipper allows it to be wrapped around his little leg. The child's eyes light up. She offers her own arm to the nurse as well, then turns to Chipper and says, "Roll over." And Chipper complies. Before long, the child is on her way, as are we. Good boy, Chipper. At home, I remove Chipper's vest and badge, rub his belly, and tell myself, take a lesson from this little one who gives so much simply by being his gentle, warm self. We wait for our next Friday visit, but it's March of 2020. The world has shut down. Week after week, Chipper would sit with a little paw raised as if saying, "Come on, time to go." "Sorry, Chipper, there's nothing to be done." I nearly stopped, holding out hope that we would ever return. Then at last came long-awaited news. Visits will soon resume. 4 little paws will again be sauntering through the ED as Chipper proudly looks around for another human to nestle up to. Is it my imagination, or does he seem to understand that something good is about to return to our lives? I reflect on what I have learned in our journeys together. Love speaks through silence. Hope rises in stillness. And understanding comes through simple being. I look at Chipper, and as he gazes back at me with his big brown eyes, I just know what he must be thinking. Good girl, Jen.